Hello, everyone. My name is Alexander Ermenkov. I'm a ruling reality coach, and today I'm continuing my series, Ruling Reality as Alex. Today is 20th of March, 2024. So I would like today to speak about the narrative reality. It is a very important topic, and I would like to give you how, in my own personal reality, I'm using the narratives that are constantly coming to us and how are we to implement them in our own personal reality and to know that everything that we are experiencing, everything that we are interpreting in reality is based on narratives. It is so very important that even in the ancient books, such as the Bible, it was written in the beginning was the word. So in the beginning was the narrative. It is very important to recognize all our actions, all our behaviors, and the sources of narrative. I'm just going to share with you now one information when I was very dedicated in my own personal reality to be dedicated to a specific Christian narrative, and I was thinking that sole scripture, or only the scriptures, is enough in order to understand reality, in order to be able to extract everything that is possible from reality. And what I was thinking then is that it means that I must become more and more dogmatic and to never be open for everything that is around me. And a lot of us are like this. We are choosing a specific narratives, and usually it depends from where we are born, how we are raised, what are the realms and the countries which we are raised in, what are the traditions there. And based on this, the narratives of our life experience are created. The problem with this is that based on the narratives, all our reality is built. And let me just elaborate a little bit about the wording, the scripting, and the narratives. It is actually a decoding tool, because when I'm speaking right now, you are understanding me, because when we collaborate with wordings, we are just expressing meaning and we're just expressing different words that are just saying and translating things to each other, because we know behind each meaning of the word, and then we are putting the imaginations in our head, and we just have a common understanding between each other because of the wordings. Of course, some of the wordings, we have different meanings about them, but still it is important to understand that when we are speaking, that when we are communicating, that when we are hearing narratives, it is not what really is. And in reality, the most important thing is to be able to disidentify ourselves from the narrative and to see reality as it is. Of course, we need the narrative because of one simple reason. And the simple reason is that we as human beings don't know. We don't know the fundamental questions of who we are, what we are, where are we from, and what is our next. And because of this, there are a lot of narratives that are created. And in today's society of the 21st century, all of us know that there are such type of authoritative holy books or different type of scriptures from ancient times that we have decided that these are fundamental narratives, and we usually call them the religions of the today's society. And even if we like it or don't like it, maybe 70 to 80% of the human existing today are using these fundamental narratives, and based on them we are creating our reality. And it is very interesting because I personally am a Christian. I know a lot about the Christian narratives, but I have a lot of friends that are Muslims. I have a lot of friends that are using the Hindu narratives and know their books. But still, all of us, it doesn't matter what type of sources we are using, we are in the same reality of the today, where the holographic objective reality is already framed for all of us, and there is a structure for this reality. So in a sense, we have the narratives that are trying to explain to us what is happening, but also we have the real thing that is there, and so many times the narrative contradicts the reality. And for me, this is a very important question, and what I have come up to a conclusion after more than 50 plus years living here in this realm of existence is that we are to be very careful with the narratives, because the narratives are actually programming us how to decode this reality, and we can go into a lot of delusion and false narrative, and we can create such type of reality where we are not aligned as a human being, a decoder, and also um, workers into this reality, and we can go into disalignment with what actually is. And it is very interesting because we are such a complex beings, and maybe I'm going to share the screen just to give you some information, and based on this we're just going to speak about more of the things that I'm willing to explain to you today. This is part of my webinar about how to ruin the complex reality. And the reality is very complex architecture, because there are a lot of things that are happening simultaneously in our reality. The complexity is structured by the elementals. The ions are expressing the functional consciousness. The realms governs the different dimensions, and the humans that we are border zones, complex generators of reality. And what is very important for me here is to understand the principle of the reality which we are experiencing on a daily level. First, we can divide the reality as internal and external, and I'm going to give it to you as a slide so it's much better for you to see it. So the internal reality is everything that is happening within us. The problem then is that we think that everything that is happening within our bodies is very limited, and it is not something that we are used to. But basically, everything that is within us is limitless. It is so huge, it's like a big macrocosmos, though we think that it is limited within a body. Did you know that infinity is going into both directions? One of the direction of the infinity is from 1, 2, 4 to infinity, the expanding infinity. But if you start to dividing between 1 and 0, you can divide again to infinity. So infinity is working in an expanding direction, but infinity is also found out into any type of limitation. So if we as a human being, if we as a functions, if we as an organism think that there is a limitation within our internal experience, there is no such a thing, because basically we are living in a form through the body, but still our internal individual is limitless. And basically, there in our internal individual part of the reality is where we are forming and where we are experiencing the awareness, the perception, the consciousness, the subconsciousness, all the dreams, all the visualizations, all memory of experience, all pattern recognitions, all predictabilities, all projections, all intent, all the attention, the focus, the identity, the desire, the passions, the urges, and the will. And here in these internal individuals, there is a lot of narrative going on that is focused directly upon this part of our own reality. And it is very important because based on this I principle, the individual internal, everything else is generated in our reality. And for me personally, this is the most important part of myself. For example, when in the Bible narrative, it's written that if you are to keep anything as the most precious things, more than anything else, keep your heart. And the heart is just an expression of everything that is happening within us and how our inner, individual, internal reality is constantly influenced. It is influenced by the narrative. Because even what we see, we are explaining only through the narrative. So what is important here to realize is that daily we are to monitoring what we are hearing, because the substance into the material that we are giving into this reality and all the actions and all our behaviors and everything that we are expressing is based upon this internal individual reality. And once we understand that all the wordings, all the narratives, all the stories are just programming of our individual internal, we are to know how to rule. Not the broad sense of our reality, but how to rule our internal individual cosmos, which is so big and vast that we are really strongly obliged. We have a responsibility for our internal essence. Yes, there is a strong essence that later on is expressed into the external, individual and collective, and the external individual is all the things that are mentioned here, and these are expressed basically through our individual bodies. Right now, in the moment, my body is put into this specific space, into a specific country called Bulgaria, into the specific office of the company I'm working in. All my biochemical and physical body functionality are here, but through this body, I'm experiencing a state of being. I'm experiencing alignment between the big internal individual experience that is based on all the narratives that have been put throughout the years into my head, and I'm the one that is responsible how and what I'm using, how I'm perceiving, how I'm working with attention and focus. What are the identities that I'm embracing in order to go into coherence, faith, love, authenticity, alignment, and to know how to work with this body. But also we have here in the collective, internal, all the religions, belief, worldview, science, walls, orders, value, culture, language, knowledge, concept, theories, all these narratives, they are so strongly embedded into all of us. And then it's up to us to select. These are all the narratives. Just imagine that every narrative is an app. There are fundamental narratives, there are specific narratives, and so on and so on. And we are daily going into our internal individual and are deciding what type of religious narratives there are inside of me that are speaking me about the above. Are they empowering me? Are they making me to be more responsible? And what I'm using and how I'm extracting all these narratives and how I'm de-archiving what is hidden behind them into my daily experience of reality? What has my cultural narratives given me today? Why I'm wearing a suit, for example? This is part of the culture of the 21st century. If I was 3,000 years ago, maybe I was going to be with a robe, totally different clothing. I was not going to wear a watch. A watch is something that is of today's cultural experience. Then there is a lot of invisible orders that I'm following on a daily basis. It doesn't matter, for example, when I'm using Facebook, when I'm using Zoom, when I'm working now into the digital area and experience, there are so many orders and laws that we are following. Everything is narrative. When we go to the movie, there are narratives that are competing about our conscious and subconscious. They are competing about our perception and awareness, and it's up to us to decide based on our alignment, coherence, faith, life, love, authenticity. What exactly are we using daily from these narratives? And then it's very easy to see how our collective external is working with all the money, all the nature, all the universe, all the cosmos, all the construct, all the physical materialities. Everything that we as human beings are constantly generating by creating the civilization we are experiencing, by using the technologies and moving forward into more and more industrialization. We are constantly, collectively, all of us, creating our external environment. So based on all of this, I was just willing to show you how important are the narratives for all of us. And maybe because it's ruling reality, as Alex, I'm going to give you maybe some examples of how I'm using the narratives. And I will start with the most important part of narrative. And this is the difference between dogmatically using narratives and being open-minded about the narratives and using them as an app principle. Not saying that this specific app is all the narratives there are, and I'm going to limit myself only into this narrative. Also, we are not to exclude the responsibility about everything in our reality. And let me just start with my first example. I remember I'm a Christian and I have been studying the Bible since 17 years old. And I know my father, he was constantly monitoring and watching me. He's saying, you are becoming too dogmatic. Why don't you read also other literature? Why don't you expand your worldview and understand everything that is out there? Why you are limiting yourself into a one specific app? And it came to such a culmination that during 2080, I was willing to dedicate my own personal reality only to the sole scripture. Sole scripture. It means that all the reality I was willing and I was thinking and I was 100% sure that I can explain, I can say, and I can think, and I can imagine, and I can do everything through the expression of the Bible type of fundamentalist extraction of reality. And later, through my journey from 2008 till today, what I'm actually doing and what is actually happening in my reality, that I'm becoming open-minded, but not in the way that the Masonic, the Rosicrucians, and all type of interpretations are giving us, that you see everything that the religions were talking about, it's a big mixture, and then we're just having this new type of Masonic type of understanding where we are going to mix everything and we are going to just cherry pick and extract whatever is necessary in order to manipulate reality. This is not the idea of the narrative principle. The idea of the word, in the beginning was the word, in the beginning was the narrative, in the beginning was the script. The meaning of all of this is to understand who is behind the script, to know the creator, to go into the beyond and to start understanding, to get acquainted with what is in the beyond, what is behind the screen that we are seeing right now, and why everything is moved through the narratives. And for me, this is so strongly powerful that what I realized is that all these type of narratives are bubbles after bubbles after bubbles, and I have come to such a realization in today's reality that basically I'm listening and I'm just exploring all type of opposite bubble type of narratives, and I'm evaluating everything, and I'm so open-minded today that I'm enjoying listening to Christians that are living their faith for something else, or for Muslims that have decided to become Buddhist, or for Indians that have decided to become Christians, or for former Masonics that are now Catholics, or whatever type of mixtures there are. And what I'm finding is a tendency that everywhere we are missing one strong link, that we don't understand that it is not about changing apps. Oh, Alex, so you are Christian for 30 years now, and you're looking around to change the app? Is this the meaning of everything? That we are constantly just to try everything and just to change the maps? No, what I'm saying is that behind all these maps, there are creators. And what is important is to understand what is the beyond. In the end of our journey here in this experience, what is going to be important is, do we know the behind the narratives? Do we understand the beyond? Are we interested to know all that is? And the interesting thing, because I'm not a spiritual coach, I'm not the one that is strongly willing to explain what is up there. What I'm reading and what I'm interested in is the daily reality of all of us. I'm interested to know how, by developing my relationship with the beyond, my daily reality is influenced, how my coherence, how my unseen and invisible and unknown relationship is bringing benefit for all of us that I am approaching on a daily level. How I'm able to become a coherent, beneficial part of this existence, through understanding the deepness of all that is. This is important for me. This is what drives me. What drives me is the linking, this multidimensional interlinking between each one of us as a collapsing potential, but not only for materialization, but for bringing meaning, for bringing acquaintance between the unseen and the seen, between what is right now in the material and its potential, between what's probable and what is daily possible. And that's why if a lot of us are focusing only on the spiritual, only on what's next, only on the wishes and imaginations of the human mind, we are just dispersing our energy instead of seeing what all that is focused upon, and everything that is focused on the potential of this reality we are experiencing right now. And I know that a lot of us are just saying, well, Alex, but everything that we experience is not important because it's just a simulation and it's just things that doesn't matter. But is it so? Do our lives really doesn't matter, and do everything that we are possible as potential to do on a daily level to express into this physical reality, to leave our imprint here, to have a legacy? Does it really doesn't matter? Is this the narrative we are going to hear? Just disconnect from this reality in order somebody else and some other agendas to occupy everything that is possible to be done from each of us on an individual level. And that's why I prefer and I have decided to extract everything that is from my own personal, internal, and to express it into the daily reality that is given to me through the more than 33,000 plus cycles of the day and night. For me, every day is as important as my last day, because this is the possibility of expression of everything that is probable to happen. And that's why I'm so amazed to daily watch and see and look at what is possible and what is happening through my own personal internal expression, and how everything is collapsed and is materializing for the benefit of all of us through my humble experience. And can all of us just imagine if more than 8 billion of us are doing just this, then what type of narratives are going to prevail? The authenticity narratives maybe are going to prevail instead of going into the agendas, instead of going into the propaganda, instead of going into all the major narratives that are willing to give us direction. Why don't we go into the within and start expressing our own personal uniqueness? This is what I'm striving for, and this is what I'm really willing to express during 2024 by giving you my own personal examples of how I'm just ruling and expressing myself into this reality. So this is all for today. And if you want, you can move into the YouTube and watch all my videos regarding ruling reality basics. And the beautiful thing about reality and the beautiful thing about exploring life and being in a conscious mode and living into this body and experiencing our daily reality is that everything is so complex, it's so beautiful, it's so interconnected, that it's so wonderful that all of us can enjoy our lives into the unique ways that we have chosen. So enjoy your reality and move forward into expressing more of the authenticity essence that is in all of us. Bye-bye.